Hey everybody, and welcome to LearnDOTA. I am your host, TobiWanKenobi, bringing you a LearnDOTA episode, which has not happened in a while. That's right, everything's been happening around the world of Dota, and what I want to do for you today is actually not teach you how to learn Dota, but in this scenario, watch the biggest event in Dota. That's right, we're looking at the International 2012. This happened last year at Gamescom. For all those people wondering, what exactly is the International? The International is Valve's event. That's right, the guys who created Dota 2, they assemble everybody from all the top teams in one location. This time will be in Seattle. Last time it was in Cologne in Germany. In this scenario, we do get to go to a lovely Seattle, actually downtown Bellevue is where we'll head to a dedicated hall just for Dota 2, because you can watch all the live streams. But this is what I'm going to do for you guys, is for those guys who are prepping up and going, I got all these questions. How do I watch the game? How do I follow the game? What if I'm a first-time person who's like, I'm not quite sure about the game. What am I really supposed to do while I watch this? I don't really understand it. You are not alone. So for all those people out there, this LearnDOTA is for you. Of course, I will be one of your commentators on the main stage, so I'll be talking you through a lot of the stuff on the main stage. So the best thing you can always do is listen to the commentators. Sometimes, don't listen to us. We say some weird-ass crap sometimes. But don't worry, you'll get through it. All right, so let's look at the International. What exactly is the International? The International is a tournament, which is a $1.6 million prize pool tournament where they invite 16 teams from all around the world to compete. Now, the way they compete is the tournament style. Now, we start with a group stage. Now, this is a bit different to a lot of group stages. Most group stages will try and filter the teams down a lot more than what these guys have. Most of the time, you'll find the group stages as a division of 4 out of all the teams you've got. There's 16 teams, and the way they've decided to split it this time is into 2 separate groups. So you've got two groups of 8 teams, and these guys will play against each other. Now, most group stages work where you play against everybody once, and then the top amount of teams go through, and the bottom amount of teams are kicked out of the group stage. It works differently here for the International. For the International, you actually play against each other twice. So it's a little bit different with this scenario, because everyone plays twice. You play double the games, you play the same opponent twice over. It's not a best of 2, it's actually 2 best of 1s. So the games, sometimes when you have best of 2 matches, you can say, well, if you win both matches, you get 3 points, because the way you play a best of 2 is so you don't have to go through 3 hours of Dota. If you take out 2 games, it's assumed you'll take the third. So you get the extra point you get for the third game anyway. So you normally have 3 points, then you get 1 apiece if you get 1 game apiece, and then you get 0 points if you don't take any games. That's the way it normally would work with a best of 2 scenario. But these are actually best of 1 games, so it's still 1 win. That's what counts. They'll be happening. So yeah, that's the way the grids get to work. For those guys out there who are also wondering what the hell are the grids, I'm actually going to jump you over to a web page. Now, this is going to be one of your best resources. Let me just click that little page. Here we go. So this is Dota2.com. This is the international website. This is the official website. Now, if you want to, you can find some other places that'll be doing summaries. Ghost Gamers will be doing it. For people who know me, you'll probably head over to this page, which is my little page here. You can also go over to Team Liquid. I believe they'll be doing summaries as well. So there's a lot of other places you can find. Team Liquid's always great for the live streams, and you'll find those also on Gosu, on Join Dota. Both the partners for this broadcast, for the coverage of this event. So definitely check out both these websites. I'm trying not to be biased, by the way, guys. And you know what I'm talking about! Yeah. So, what we want to talk about is the prelims. So, this is the prelims. This is normally what you go, oh my god, so many games, oh my god. How do I even deal with this? And really, there's a lot of games to go through. So, there's 3 days of competition. It starts on Sunday, the 26th. This will be at 10 a.m. their time. I'm talking about Seattle time. For those guys who want to try and do the conversions for it, I'm trying to work out the exact timing. For the guys who function on CEST, then you're taking away 9 hours. And if you're from Southeast Asia, the western part of it, then, or actually any really part of it, you're then taking away, on top of that, another 7 hours, I believe it is, and then 9 hours if you're on the east coast of Australia. Shout out to the east coast of Australia for all those guys. Or if you're watching from China, yeah, same time zone, I believe, unless there's some interesting change up. All right, so I'm going to go to one little page, which at this point, just I know I'm on this page, and really, let's just ignore where we are. But just so I can show you the groups. Now, these are the groups you're looking at. Very, very simple. So you got 8 teams per group. Moscow 5, MUFC, Zenith, LGD, EG, CLG, DK, and AL will all be in Group A. Group B, Na'Vi, Orange, Tongfu, MTW, IG, Dara, eHome, and Complexity. Now, a lot of the matches from Group B will be the ones you really, 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 really want to watch closely, because these are... This is the stronger group. From just looking at this and through a lot of conversations I've been having all afternoon since these groups got released, the Group B is definitely the stronger of the teams. And Group A, there's still some great matchups in that one, but it's a little bit more predictable. But Group B will be very, very volatile. So all the groups will actually get mixed up a lot, as we saw it before when we were watching in the prelims here. You'll notice with the groups plays, there's Series 1, Series 2, Series 3, Series 4, which is like Round 1, Round 2, Round 3, Round 4. They'll play 4 games at a time, 4 games at a time, 4 games at a time. So watching this kind of stuff is not going to be too hard for you, because there will always be a live stream for every single game. Yeah, so the groups will be mixed up, so you'll never really, you'll jump between Group A and Group B all the time as the tournament does progress. You can look at this stuff from inside the game as well, and we might just jump ourselves in there for a moment. So we'll jump over to my game screen window. So this is kind of like a little bit of a unique thing for those guys out there. You can yourself right now download not this version of the client. The client that I've got is actually the open beta, where you the closed beta, where you're actually able to play, you find matches and do that kind of stuff. But there is available. I just realized too, we're going to have to jump back to my old screen because there was the one thing which I didn't really show you. But we'll jump back to this little sucker here. If you want to watch it live, you can come to this website, you can find it here. A lot of the other news sites have already used this too, or you can just type in Dota 2 Spectator Client into Google and you will come to this location here. So it's right down here where you can basically sign up. You can take up the client. This Spectator Client will let you watch with Dota TV. For those guys who are Counter-Strike players and you're used to connecting through IPs with Source TV, it's actually exactly the same engine. Well, actually not exactly, because it's been modified heavily to function for what's going to be a very, very large amount of people watching the international. So you can actually use this. On top of the live streams, there will be a Twitch TV and an Own3D TV live stream going out. If you want to find that, you can also find it at this website where it says media. It'll be available there, as well as on joindota.com, as well as on ghostofgamers.net. Team Liquid, I believe, will be showing both the streams as well. On basically any website that's giving you coverage, you'll find a live stream link. Streamdota2.com will probably have it available there as well. So you got all these websites you can go to. Playdota.com will have it visible too. That's iStrog's little baby of a website. So you'll be able to check out all the news coverage from these sites. But it's just for the fact that you can watch it inside the game client, which is something which hasn't really happened much before. So you'll be able to get it in here. And this is basically the website we were looking at is here inside the client. So this is basically just a quick plug-in all in here. So you'll be able to watch all your prelims, and it'll flash up the live stream right here inside the client. The tabs you will have is this watch tab. And then you go to the international, and it will be at the top of your page, and then the live games will show. You can also view it by the schedule. This doesn't work just yet because it's going to redirect you back to the page, which doesn't exist. So we just hit a little bit of a back button, which I use my hotkey instead of actually clicking the button, which is up here on the top, in case people were wondering, where the hell's he going? I can't keep up with him. But yeah, you can keep up to date with it all through this page here. So you just keep watching through the international, live games, and tournament website will take you there too. And the brackets, this will all be available here inside the client. When the game is live, it'll appear here, and you'll watch it like you would a normal game. I'm going to show you how you watch a normal game in a couple of moments' time, because I'm going to take you through the game itself when you're watching it and how you understand the process of what's happening. Only the basic part of it, because really it's a big thing that we... Well, there was a lot of discussion about it during the original international, where I was your English broadcaster for that one with a guy called Slesh, and we were talking about many, many different things that were happening inside the game, and a lot of it was not educational. This is something which, there's the reason why we do videos like Learn Dota, why people do a lot of documentaries and Dota Cinema. If you haven't checked those guys out, they're inside the game as well. If you want to click on the Learn tab, you can find them there. You can find everything there. We are able to learn about the heroes and such, because when you're watching a game, you don't know what each animation represents. Most of the time, if you're a new person to the world of Dota, you won't understand what is really happening on your screen. So the best thing you can do as a person who's watching is actually have both your Dota 2 free client available and open on your side screen, and also have a live stream on another one. If you have two computers, go nuts. But if you've got two monitors, this is the perfect thing you can do. So what you try and do is have your live stream on one computer, and then you'll have your Dota TV on another. Now, Dota TV will be a little bit more delayed. Most times, Dota TV actually takes a grand total of 5 seconds to compile the information and then pump it into Dota TV. But most times, Dota TV has a delay of 2 minutes. I don't know if this delay will still be in place for the international. They might drop it down a hell of a lot. It depends on the load of the servers, will depend on a lot of things. So yeah, Dota TV might be a little bit more delayed than the live stream, so having them synced up, not the easiest thing in the world. But what's great about it is, when you have your client open, you can click on the Learn tab, and any hero you see come up. If you see, for instance, I'm now hovering over Templar Assassin, you'll have to recognize them by their icons. Luckily, when you're in game, all the icons will appear on the top bar, so you'll be able to see anything about any kind of hero. But yeah, you can click on the heroes, and it'll take you to the overview. So it'll tell you about the abilities. I'll give you a small little lore history, the bio, the basic stats as well. Not something which you should really try and delve into early on. I'm saying early into your experience as a Dota. But you can watch little things like this. Now, it's a very, very simple video. And it's just telling you refraction, how does it work? Very, very simple to understand. Refraction, blocking attacks. And you can see physically the animation that's going along with the refraction, and to see a hero attacking it, so you can understand visually what is happening. So this is going to be your best friend during the international. Make the most out of these learn pages. You do have, to an extent, these abilities inside the game client, because you can hover over abilities like refraction and it'll give you the details of it, and we can show you that when we get ourselves inside the client. But this is just an easy way where you can have a reference like this straight away inside the client. If you're inside the game too, all you gotta do is just hit the menu button. You can come here and you won't close down your Dota TV. You can browse through your menus without affecting Dota TV. It's even when you're queuing for a game, you can be watching someone else's match. It doesn't affect it at all. In fact, you'll get a notification saying your match is beginning while you're still watching Dota TV. You can also use other websites for this kind of stuff, and I'm saying that because there's a couple of databases out there which are really good, as I was saying. Like, you can always check out Dota Cinema's website, even JD. They've got a little bit list of heroes. You can find some other stuff as well over on playdota.com. Playdota.com uses the older icons though, and this is something which people might have to get used to. Like on the top bar, you see the little heroes things there. And these are all the Warcraft 3 ones. This is generally the most up-to-date kind of stuff you'll find, because this, as I said, is IceRog's website. They will be doing coverage of the international from this website. I know DPM will be on the scene for Play Dota, doing news articles and stuff. So you will be able to check out news headlines through this website as well. So yeah, that's the one I was talking about before. So let's jump ourselves back inside the game, because now I want to run you through something. Now we're going to go watch, and I want to have a recent game. So I want to have a tournament game. Now, the defense, it was obviously one of the Razer-sponsored tournaments. Yeah, go Razer. That's just the Razer Academy. And we're going to jump into one of the games here. Now, I've recently watched this one before, so I've already got the replay here. If you ever want to check out, and this will be something you can do. When a game is live, it'll appear up the top. When the game is being played, you'll have the details button here. Now, you can click on a game and it'll have these basic details. Doesn't reveal the results, doesn't reveal anything like that. When you want to, you can click the button and all of a sudden you'll get all of your extended stats and your ability to download the replay if you so wanted to do so. So you can watch any game from the International at any point. Even after the International is done, this will still be available in this way. And we're going to jump into my old game, which was Complexity versus Mouse Sports. Yeah, so we'll get this one started. Of course, you'll notice the new load screen from the old Dota TV, from the old LearnDOTA videos, which I've done for you. There've been a lot of patches in preparation for the International, and this was one of the things they changed. We're going the blue mystic kind of feel for this International. So yeah, what I want to take you through right now, and we're gonna go through this a little bit slower than normal, just because the draft is something which can confuse a lot of people. I think I've touched on it before in previous LearnDOTAs, but I want to do a brand new one for you guys as well, as you'll get used to this thing. All right, so already, now I'm going to stop this even before the players have loaded in. And the reason why I'm stopping it before the players have loaded in, you'll notice up here on the top, this will be our little box, which we don't have to worry about. This is the replay box. You'll only ever have this in replay. But it's the box below that, which gives you your options for how to watch inside the client. Now, you can have directed TV, free camera, player perspective, hero chasers, and then you can also have the perspectives of your commentators. Now, that's me up there on the fourth last slot. You got the French guys from Dash and Max, Fasuda, who was our Russian caster, and we also had our German caster there in the fourth slot. So you can, if you click on this button, anywhere I'm looking during the game, anywhere, anything I'm touching, if I bring a menu up, if I hover over something, the cursor will move in front of you doing exactly the same thing. I also just realized too, and I knew I was going to forget this. Actually, no, I did it right. I thought I got my screen things wrong, which I got a funny feeling I still did anyway, because we're not appearing quite properly. No, I've actually got it right. I'm just tripping myself. Sorry, guys, because I got this on a different screen. Yeah, I got this on a different screen. So understanding what the hell's going on is, yeah, let's just go with this. This works. Okay, so meanwhile, back at the range. How to watch the game. Now, a lot of people use Dota TV because they're able to do free camera, and anywhere they want to go, they can travel across the map. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to be able to do. You can go directed, which is then controlled by the computer itself. So it calculates where the action is. With this, you will never really miss a kill. I say really. Sometimes it has its problems. It's the reason why a lot of commentators don't use the function. Also because it means they have to be watching on Dota TV, and that's 5 seconds delayed, and no one likes to even be 5 seconds late when it comes to this kind of stuff. But yeah, it can get a little bit haywire during team fights, which is why a lot of people still either use directed cam or they just click on what I'm talking about. Because when you're looking at me and what I'm doing, if I'm drawing on the map or if I'm doing things like this, this is something you always like to do. If you want to listen to a commentator, this will be your second box. So it says there's 4 available, and there's your 4 different streams. This will be the same for every single game. As long as there's 4 broadcasters in there, you'll have 4 options maximum. And you can choose from your different audio channels. So what's going out over a normal live stream, you'll hear also inside the client, inside the game, it'll be available there. And then we go for both teams, that's just visions and everything else. And you got a little ranking system too. You can vote the replay up or vote the replay down. So that's your first options. That's your first options you're looking at right now. All right, so we want to go right here. Welcome to your second option right now. So I don't want to choose any broadcaster. I was shoutcasting this on with Cinderum, but we'll take no broadcaster because it's just going to interfere with what you guys want to hear. All right, so obviously a whole bunch of international branding. This screen you see right here is your draft screen. Now I paused this, that's the reason why the timer has stopped. Now, the easiest way to understand what is going on right now, we've got the dire side on the top here. This is Mouse Sports. You see the little logo up the top corner and the logo across the top here. So Mouse Sports, they will be on the dire side. There's 5 boxes down the side here. 3 of these will be used in the first phase, 2 used in the 2 used in the second. These are your bans. So heroes you do not want to see played in the game, be it by yourself or be it by your opposition. Most of the time you're banning it for the opposition because you don't ban yourself. But yeah, sometimes this can get a little bit hairy for reasons why people are banning different heroes. It can get very, very complex, but it can also be very, very simple. This is the time, during this drafting time, where you try and keep up as much as you can with the commentators. We will talk about a lot of stuff during this period that we'll just talk very, very fast. Some things will be standard, and we won't really comment on them because they are standard. We'll probably make some reference to it in the first early games, but what is normally standard keeps happening over and over and over again. So a commentator will normally not repeat himself when he starts talking about these kind of features. So yeah, the bans, we get 3 through the first stage. You notice it takes it in turns, 1, 1, 1, 1, and you can follow this across the board. So even if we speed this little sucker up a little bit, because I think the bans took a little bit longer for this one. Yeah. Okay, what you just saw there. Reserve time. 1 minute 30 is left here for mouse boards, and complexity are now going into their timer. So you always start off with 1 minute 30. There is a penalty system, but there's no reason to explain that, but it can make your things lower. But yeah, so you go 1 minute 16. So with your normal time, you start off, and you got basic time for every single ban and pick. You can only eat into your reserve time for a grand total of 1 minute 30 for the entire length of the draft. After that point, you'll be out of reserve time, and you must make your pick in the normal time. So sometimes you need a little bit longer to think about what you want to do. And that's when you eat into your extra time. And in that scenario, yeah, it's okay. And sometimes you can even use your extra time as a bit of a bait, saying, oh, I don't know what I'm quite doing, and you're actually trolling the other team. That's why I said this gets complicated for just what happens between the teams, between the 2 captains, or between the entire team if you draft in that way. But yeah, let's not look at the complicated side of things. So we can look at it this way. So we're just going to roll through this one. So we've got the ban stages, and you'll notice as we go through the bans, we'll speed this up again.
Complexities turn to ban.
Yes, thank you.
10, 5 reserve time.
I love how the new sound sets actually got added into the old replays. So we're seeing heroes being banned out right now. So Rubik, Animage, they're taken out. I'm not going to explain the reason why these heroes are banned out, just the fact that they are being banned out. So this is the first stage. You take it in turns, one after the other, to ban this out. So we'll just speed to go into our next stage, which is the picking phase.
10 seconds.
Now, you've also noticed too just how much extra time is left. So they're eating through this a lot.
Turn to ban.
So we go into the pick phase. Pick phase. So pick phase, you get to pick it in succession, but you'll notice there's 1 bar facing down, then 2 facing up. The way this works is, and this is why sometimes if you're picking first or picking second, it's actually a really interesting thing to see what happens with the bans, because when you can pick first, you can only pick 1 hero. But when you pick second, you can pick 2 heroes. So if you want to sneak a big hero, which everyone's a little bit worried about through the ban pool, you can, to an extent, do it more when you're picking second, because you can take out 2 heroes. Like, well, my opposition's going to get 1 great hero in this first slot, and I can take 2 great ones as well once we get into our picking side. Who do they want to take? Who do they want to try and ban? How do you want to control that? And that's where it gets even more, again, complicated. So during this, I would probably say what I explained to you just now lets you keep up to date with what is going to happen on your screen. As in, who is banning, who is picking, and how the whole thing flows. The middle bar will let you know who is doing what as well, because it says pick, it says ban, and the announcer will be saying it as well. We'll be talking about it as well, the commentators during it, and then at the end you can see battle begins. So, after this ends, you do your 3 bans, your 3 picks, your 2 bans, your 2 picks. And that's how simple it is. And you take it in turns as you go. So, you end up with a lineup. A lineup of 5 players, 5 heroes, you select your hero, and off you go. This is when I want to try and help you to understand what's going to happen once the game begins. Because the draft is actually, when you look at it, the most calmest moment of all. Because it's just very, very simple, gotta make the right decision, but it's only 1 decision at a time. And that's the simplest thing to do. when you start looking at the game itself, it gets complicated because then you've got to have 3 lanes. So you've got top, mid, and bottom lane, plus the jungles to take into account. Now, this means you've got to be keeping your eyes everywhere on the map, basically at all times. The commentators, it is their job, and I hope I do it right for you, it is their job to focus your attention. So right now, you're looking through my eyes, and this is what I'll do normally at the start of a broadcast. So let me just stop controlling my mouse, and what's now being controlled is what I would do inside the game. So what I'm doing right now is, and this will be something at the very, very start of a broadcast most casters will do, they'll run through who is playing what heroes, and what lanes they're going to. Is at this time too, we'll probably start looking over the inventory. You'll see it down the bottom right-hand corner of your screen down here, and this will show you the items which the heroes have bought. This is a starting item. So now we look up towards our top lane, our mid lane, and our bot lane. So in this scenario, we'll be talking about the fact that we've got 2 solo heroes for mouse sports on the Dire side, and then we've got a tri-lane assembling on the bottom lane for mouse sports as well. Complexity, they're protecting their jungle. That's the reason why they're all in there. And this is the what is basically the early laning phase, which is when you try and pair up the best heroes up against the enemy's worst counter heroes. So you get the advantage in the lane, you'll get the farm, you'll get the kills. That's what it's all about at the very, very start. So when you look at the draft, a lot of people are thinking already about what lanes are going to happen. And that's going to be the biggest point of conversation we have when we start talking in the drafting time too. Just to how it's all going to work. How do the heroes synergize? How do they work on these lanes together? That'll be the big conversation going on. So the early game stage, this is all coming down to execution of plans. There'll be different plans that could happen. In this case, you've got a very, very aggressive lane from Mouseport. So they want to find kills, they want to add pressure, and they want to get farm on their other lanes, which will then make up for it a little bit later on. So this is the scenario for the Mouseports lineup. We're going to skip past this and jump ourselves another, let's say, 10 minutes into the game. Now, I'm going to go to my free camera right now so I can go anywhere I want on the map. So we can start looking at kills, deaths, assists, and most people would. Most of the time, you bring up this graph. Now, you can do this by hitting F6, and F7 is for the experience. But this is your goal graph and your experience graph. Most of the time, during the mid-game, this gives you the best overview of what is really happening as far as the team globally. Because it lets you know how much experience you're earning as well as gold you're earning. It's not letting you know how much you use for buybacks, what you've already spent on items, things like that. It's just a general overview to give you a feel of who really has the control. 10 to 15 to 20 minutes in, this thing actually means something. After that point, there's actually very little to no reason to bring this gold graph up. It's at that time you want to switch yourself over, and you've got all these little menus which you can jump up and down with. They've all got hotkeys to use, as well as using just then to switch through them all. And that's what I'll use during the event too, so you won't see me move a mouse to change that. You'll just see the stats changing on the top left whenever I want to find out something or refer to something. So most of the time, you're looking at net worth or gold per minute. Now, net worth was a new feature they added recently, which lets you judge just how much net worth a hero has. So how much they've earned, what their items have got, how much they've used consumables, it won't count them. So this is how much money this hero is actually carrying around with him. And you want to look at the difference in the power of the heroes, because the mid-game is normally when all hell breaks loose. For CIS teams, that's teams from like Russia, Ukraine, it's a lot more aggressive. So during 10 minutes time, you can almost throw out the golden experience graph at that point because they're already beating the living crap out of each other, and that's the way they play. Where Chinese teams, a lot of it is this late game kind of pressure. They do have a lot of early game pressure when they want to play that style, but the key is for most teams from Southeast Asia, their decision making in the mid game and the late game is just superb. And it's because of the amount of experience they've got, which makes it superb. And that's the reason why a lot of people love to watch games from Southeast Asia and China, where the Europeans and the Americans were normally a lot more predictable for what's going to happen. I say we. I've been living in Berlin for a year, so I say we as a normal thing now. But yeah, they're a lot more predictable with what they're going to do. So yeah, if you're watching it, you'll find out with all the teams for what's going to happen. It's going to be pretty easy for you to really work out. So yeah, let's let's look at that. So we say, okay, mid-game, gold graph is out. We look at the late game. We see what heroes are up. Now, it's at this time during the late game, most commentators, myself definitely included, will normally get a little bit, oh my god, about team fights. Or sorry, I should rephrase that with, oh my god, about team fights. Because when it comes to late game, it won't come down to who's got the highest gold, who doesn't. In some scenarios, for big late game farming heroes, it will do. But without your support heroes, without this net worth, without these hero levels being balanced out, then other heroes are a lot more key than others. So Black, for instance, is playing Morphling here in the mid lane. He is level 8 on his team. He's the same level as Bamboo. These are the two key heroes for Mouse Sports to watch. Down on the bottom, you got Leshrac, Ogre, as well as Jakiro, level 4 and level 3. Obviously, Mouse Sports in this position, their tri-lane and bot failed horribly. It failed horribly. So they had to try and find levels from somewhere else, which took them time, and I'm not going to spoil the end of this game. But yeah, so you look at, if you want to watch it, you can do so. Buy the defense ticket. But yeah, the lower ranked heroes, these guys can be picked up pretty easily. So you got to start looking at these key heroes. And in the late game, it's the reason why golden experience don't matter. You can throw away all of that if just a couple of the big heroes survive, because they can push fast, they can push hard, and they can take out the racks, and that will generally mean a massive shift in momentum in the game, and a possible leading to a GG call, which is good game. So yeah, for those guys who don't know what you need to do to win in a game, all you must do is, to get to the base, you must take out a tier 1. This is a tier 1 tower. This is the first level tower. Tier 2 tower, this will only become vulnerable once the tier 1 tower is gone. Tier 3 tower, this will only become vulnerable once your tier 2 tower is gone. Then the racks is the next one. This is divided up into melee as well as range. So if you take out the range racks, your larger creeps, your range creeps will spawn with more damage and more life points. If you take out the melee barracks, then your melee creeps will spawn with more damage and more life points, and both these creep models will give less gold. These barracks will only be available to attack if you take out the tier 3 tower. From this point, the same happens on all lanes, so tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and then racks. If you take out all racks, you get something called mega creeps. Now, I normally put this into 3 different levels. So you got standard creeps, super seismic creeps, which is when you just take out the racks normally, and then mega creeps, which are your big creeps. So they actually go another step up to more life and more damage comes out when you take out all the racks. It's the reason why most teams can't fight back from mega creeps, because it's like having a whole bunch of mini heroes on the map, and they just keep pounding away at your base. And it basically means GG unless you push really, really fast. Once you're taking out the tier 3 towers, now you don't need to take out racks before you can attack the tier 4s. There's these two guys. There's 2 tier 4 towers. It's the same on the Radiant side, where you've got 2 tier 4 towers. They're in exact mirror image positions on the map. You then, after you take out the tier 4 towers, can take out the Ancients. So Radiant's Ancients and Dire's Ancients. Once this is dead, you win the game. This is the only sure way to win a game. You must remove this. Some teams are called GG because they realize that it's going to go down anyway. So that's the only reason why. But unless you kill off the Ancient, you do not win the game. This is what it all comes down to. Whoever kills this. Your method of getting there is your choice. But if you kill off the Ancient, that's how you do it. That's how you win a game of Dota. Now, for all those guys out there I know who always go, man, Toby, why do you explain the most basic things? Because this is called LearnDOTA. Some people didn't really understand that with a lot of the recent posts which went out there. So yeah, that's for you guys out there here in the comments section. So love you. And always, please, do post up your questions. I'll try and use them in future LearnDOTA events. So you can go, yes, there's the answer to my question. So yeah, if you've got a question that you want to have answered, post it in the comment section below, and I will try and do it on my next LearnDOTA. For now, that was actually basically it. We've gone from the start to the end of the game. If you do want to keep on following the entire tournament, you can do so. And all you got to do is basically head over to watch, and you can look at well, our tournaments, which we're on the wrong page for that one. But there's your international, and that's all you've really got to do. It's also on this little today site, and this is just the website. This is Dota2, Dota2.com, and you can find it all over there. Of course, you can follow my live streams as well. All the community streams for those guys out there wanting to watch the group stages. It will go from Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. These will all be done on community live streams. So on my Join Dota live stream, there'll also be AC streaming out. Luminous and LD will be teaming up together. I believe Purchase doing a live stream. There'll be Chinese live streams as well. If you guys didn't know who was actually casting, here is actually your list you can find. It's just in the About and Broadcasters tab. Smart little old face. Whoops. And then you got the Chinese commentators as well. And there'll be Russian casters for the group stages, but only one caster managed to get his visa approved for Seattle. So Valat will be the only person attending the main event for the Russian commentators. So yeah, that's something to keep your eyes out for. Will be the broadcast, the streams coming out. The main streams will be happening on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That is when the playoffs begin. We talked about the group stages, and that's actually something I didn't explain for you, which I'm going to do so right now. So your playoffs, this is not the best way to describe it because it doesn't show it really quite correctly. So we're going to jump over to... that's right, I'm taking you back here again. You knew eventually you'd come back. But yeah, we'll just jump over to this page right now. So the grids are obviously empty right now because these teams haven't advanced. When a team, if you're in the top 4 of your group stage, you'll advance through into the upper bracket. So you win your games in the group stages, you do exactly what we were talking about before, and you get yourself into the upper bracket, and you'll be put into, if you're in the upper bracket, into this round 2. The international is a different way of running a group stage because it says no one is eliminated from the group stage. The top 4 from each group, which means top 8, will advance through into the upper bracket, where you'll play off all the way to the upper bracket grand final if you're able to win every single game. These will all be best of 3 matches up on the top bracket. If you lose the best of 3, you'll drop down into the lower bracket. Now, the lower bracket, it will start at round 1. So the bottom 8 teams end up here. You lose in the upper bracket, and you'll drop down into the lower bracket. So if you lose in round 2 of the upper bracket, you'll drop down into round 1.5. This is when you'll face up against the winners of round 1. So every round of the lower bracket, you'll have half of your teams eliminated. And there is no coming back from that one. And the lower bracket, the way it's functioned this time around for the international, all the lower bracket matches are best of 1s. So you have one chance to get through, and that is all. That won't change until you get into the lower bracket final, at which point you'll have a best of 3 option. And I believe then the grand final will be a best of 5. So this is the way the international will run this time around. So that is your grid. That is the progression of the teams. So if you want to keep up to date with all of this kind of stuff, do so over on the websites, which I've mentioned. Of course, if you want to check out even more Razer Academy videos, then, well, Razer Academy is the place to go to. You can go in and find them all over on the Cult of Razer YouTube channel, where there's also a whole bunch of videos from Razer themselves, because they've got a lot of teams actually attending. I believe there's actually 2 Razer teams attending. Their biggest hope, of course, is from Singapore, and it's Team Zenith. It is sponsored by Razer, and they've been doing a documentary with those guys. So if you want to check it out, please definitely do so over on the Cult of Razer YouTube channel. Until then, thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully you'll enjoy another Learn Dota sometime soon. Who knows? Just keep your eyes on Learn Dota. You'll find it. We'll be back sometime in the near future.